Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hijinks in the morning. I'm your host, Nikki Colon. So happy you guys could wake up this morning. It is Friday. And as Enzo always says, we made it. Yay. So glad to see you guys in the chat there, but let's bring on Enzo. Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing well this morning. I've just gotten a few sips of coffee in, so I hope everyone has brought their coffee because I am ready to go.
Ready to go. Me too. I got mine too. I got my Starry Night Bigfoot on there. Kind of glary. Kind of glary, but that's what I've got today too. Yes, you need that. So, how are things? I mean, we haven't had anything big happen this week. I'm trying to think. Well, there was the eruption, right, in Iceland. That was a big thing.
Yeah, that's a real big thing. It can turn very ugly very quickly there. That's
right.
Unfortunately, that's just one of the costs of living in Iceland. It's the old Viking, land of ice and fire. They were talking about Iceland.
Yeah, for sure. And they're living with constant earthquakes right now. It is so crazy, that it's just, I've been seeing them on TikTok and YouTube, all kinds of people putting out, it's just constant rumblings and grumblings, and then it stops. The animals are freaking out. It's quite the thing, but you're right. They live in an area. And when I lived in LA, we had earthquakes all the time, so we had that earthquake here. That was, I'd felt that before, but it was kind of weird. I'm in the Southwest. Now I'm feeling earthquakes. But I can't imagine having just succession of, rumblings like that. It has got to be pretty scary. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to be in a place that was constant or had that potential of having constant earthquakes.
I would think that after a while you'd kind of get used to it because it would eventually get to the point where it's like, it's just another thing. Like somebody that when I was growing up, I had an aunt and uncle that lived literally about 20 feet away from the train tracks in West Virginia. So there were constant mile-long coal trains going by, and they had no problem. They just got used to it. It's like, it's no big deal. They wouldn't wake up from sleep or anything. Visiting as a child is like, what's happening? Oh, it's
yeah. I grew up with a train not too far too. So I was used to hearing that at night, a train going by, not real loud. And we are far away from the tracks right now, but at night that sound travels. I can hear the train from the other side of the Rio Grande. I can hear the train. And but actually I find it kind of soothing, kind of, reminds me of home. But I totally lost. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to see who's in the chat. Who's here? Sandra Piper. Hey, dear. I hope you are feeling well and are on the mend. Our Sandra took a little fall and hurt herself. So I hope everything's well with you. And they're going to put you on a bike, Sandra. They're going to make you start working out. But so I hope all's well there. She's still in the hospital, so okay.
Oh, goodness.
Well, make them bring you a lot of ice cream and popsicles, and because when I worked at the hospital, that's happens a lot. Is that you'd be so busy getting ready for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner stuff, but people will call right in the middle of you getting ready. Can I have a popsicle? Can I have some ice cream? And that's fine, but constant, you have 100 patients. That gets to be a lot. I gotta get your lunch ready. You want a popsicle for breakfast? Yeah. But you can't be mad. Some of them are having surgeries. That's all they can eat is popsicle.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Who else do we have? Den was in here right away.
Yep.
Val, good to see Val. Power went out and off and on. Oh, yep. That happens. Let's see. We've got Bigfoot Barbecue. Jay. Hey, Jay. The clock is ticking for Jay, everybody. He's retiring.
Ooh.
So, right. On you, Jay Bird. Sharon's in the house. And I think that's all we got awake this morning.
That's
Catherine.
it.
Good morning, Catherine. And trivia chatter. What? Good morning, Nikki. Coffee. I'm ready. You're ready from Southeast Arizona. I'm from Arizona as well. So good to see you. Where at? Now I want to know where in Arizona. Let me guess. Is it in the White Mountains, or are you closer to Globe? I don't know. Let me know. Love my Arizona. 30th of the month, Jay says.
Nice. Ending out the year. November with, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. That's good. Then you don't have to ask for Christmas off.
You already got it off.
You already got it.
Life off.
Yeah. And then you're going to be like, oh, crap. How are we going to afford this? That's what my husband did.
Yep. There's that sticker shock when you first retire. I did the same thing. I retired. It's like, I've done the numbers and this will work out great. And then like that first couple of months of that very small paycheck coming, I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to curb my internet shopping habit that I've gotten myself into. Can't afford that anymore.
Right. It was a shock for us because, once we decided to retire, because we lived on post, we would often live off post, for nicer places, because you don't always get very nice housing on post. They're old. Okay. Right. They're very old things that have just been maintained for a long, long time. Okay. But when we decided to retire and the housing market was perfect right at that time. Let's just build our own house. So that's what we ended up doing, building on the other side of town. And it worked out for us. It doesn't always work out for everybody like that, because
that's great.
We checked all of Arizona. We couldn't afford to live in Arizona for what we wanted, building our own home and having all these rooms and everything. It was El Paso. We could afford to do exactly what we wanted to do. And there was a huge VA here and, a lot of job opportunities with the base. And so it just made sense that we retired here.
Right.
I would have preferred closer to mountains, but we're not too bad. The more I think about it, we're not in a very bad area at all. So that worked out. But yeah, as soon as those bills start coming in, you're like, oh, damn.
Yep. Same bills you had like before you retired, but suddenly they seem a lot bigger when you don't have that much coming in anymore. It's like, oh,
right,
no, what am I going to do?
And it took my husband probably 16, 17, 18, maybe 3 years before they fixed his disability, because he started out with just like 20% or something. And they just kept not submitting everything, So he fought for 3 years, and now he's 100%. He's got 100%. Which in Texas is really good because that takes care of our property taxes. And so, you have to, whatever you can do, right? So, but it's all good. But what do I have to talk? I don't even know if I have anything to talk about.
I don't know. For the folks that have properly identified my crappy microphone, this should be the last show you'll hear this thing. Black Friday is next Friday, so I'll be ordering a whole new microphone set up, and I won't sound like I've got a blown speaker voice.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but it kind of goes off and on. It's so weird. Hold it up closer. Pull it up closer a little bit. I want to hear something.
Can you hear me now? Do I sound okay?
What is it? Because, okay, now talk looking the other way.
If I talk to my wall, I'm going to lose an argument. The wall always wins.
That's so weird. It does keep it's all weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it's from me talking wildly with my hands and accidentally whacking it, and it's bait because I keep my microphone just below the camera lens.
Oh, that sounded good.
Well, like this, I can just keep it like this.
Not in your face. Lift it up and away, Put it
like that.
Okay, now wait. Now talk again.
You see, that's the thing, is it fades in and out, so if you hit it on those good points, it sounds fantastic. If I put it like right there.
Oh, see, that is perfect. Great. Does that not sound better?
I'll just do it like this the entire show.
Oh my!
Maybe I could just peek over the edge. Hi, hello everyone.
That is so funny.
Crappy microphone.
You're good. That is funny. Oh. Catherine says, no, only 6 hours from you. Sierra Vista. Sierra Vista. Okay. That's near Fort Huachuca. 32 miles north of Bisbee. I live in El Paso 56 years ago. Nice. It's bigger now. 56 years, that was a lot of changes.
That's a long time. I'm sure
the whole east side and west side have just exploded. Even in since 2016, when we built this house, there has already been an explosion. We came in perfect timing because now our house is already worth more than what we paid for it. So,
wow.
By a lot. And across the main street out here, they built a $1.3 million home that is considered part of our neighborhood. So it has really helped, the market over here. It'll help us for sure if we ever wanted to sell. But yeah, no. Anyway.
You didn't say something about when you were talking about him retiring and stuff like that. There was a lot of people a couple of years before I retired that kept trying to talk me into totally moving outside of the United States to some usually Central or South American type country to retire there because your dollar goes further. And there was one guy, he has 5 girls and was going to pack them all up and move down to one Central American company. He was like, hey, why don't you come with us? You're going to be retiring like about the same time. You know, we could all just like one big, compound kind of place or whatever. Turns out he was wanting to go to El Salvador. This was like 2008-9 time frame. I was like, let me do a little research first. And came back the next day with like 20 reasons not to specifically go there. And I was like, specifically, I would not take 5 young girls there. At all.
No, they kidnap girls there and they sell them.
Yes, and this was before it went bad. This is when it was on its upswing because they had oil and they had all kinds of stuff and they were doing great. So it did look attractive. I don't blame them for saying that. However, the communists came in, took over, and the whole place cratered within a couple of years after that.
Yeah, a lot of those places are not great. I mean, if you're single and a male, all these places are they can accommodate you and you can live very cheaply there in a beautiful place. They're all beautiful, okay? Because they're jungle, tropical places. But females can do it too, single females. You see a lot of vloggers going out and going to all these hostels and being fine, But families, the locals think you have a lot of money, whether you have a lot of money or not. They're going to assume if you're living there with a family that you have a lot of money, and they're going to try to do anything they can to get a piece of that.
Yep.
And that would be too scary to have I wouldn't do that. I wasn't afraid in Asia though. In those places, I really wasn't afraid for my kids in South Korea at all. My oldest would be riding her bike all over around, the apartment building. And I'm on the 14th floor, so I could see her riding around and so crazy. One time she wanted to go to the grocery store by herself. And so I gave her one, and she knows the exchange. And seeing her riding her bike, she bit it hard in the middle of the road in front of a truck. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And I had, my 3-year-old too. So I was like, oh my, do I just grab her and try to get out there to see if she's okay? But I watched her. She popped up and hobbled with her bike off the road. The person in the van never got out, to check on her or anything. They just zoomed right on by. And she continued because I could see the grocery store from the window, which is why I let her go, all the way over there because I could follow her. And nope, she put her bike, went in for a while, came out with a bunch of little ice creams and hobbled all the way back home. She goes, I fell. I go, I saw you fall. She was all scabby knees, It was just, I didn't laugh in front of her because she was like traumatized by the time she got home, but she completed her mission. And that was the most important thing for her is that she got her choco bar, so yeah, poor thing. I wonder if she remembers that. I'm sure she does. It was quite traumatic at the time. He didn't even get out to help me, Mom. Yeah, it was one of those things. But
that's funny. And that was in Korea, you said?
Yeah, that was in Daegu. We were right in the middle. If you're to look at, South Korea on the map, we were right dab almost in the middle in the mountains. So we were in a mountain city surrounded by mountains, and we were in a little valley in the middle. So it was absolutely beautiful. Just a stunning place. In the mornings, it would be just covered with with clouds. I would say fog, but it looks like you're in the mountains, in the clouds. So it gave a really cool effect. And we lived right off of a lake, a man-made lake. And in the middle of the lake, they had fountains. So they would go off. And then on the weekends, they would put the laser lights on them. So right out of our window, you could see all kinds of fun stuff. So, what do I got?
Yeah, places like that. Now, I don't think I would retire there, but I mean, I get some people do. They, it's something that makes that retirement dollar go a little further.
Yeah,
some people like it.
Well, it's not that cheap there. It's not cheap in South Korea. That wouldn't be one of my places to pick because it was expensive. It was really expensive. We played, oh my God, for a 4-bedroom apartment. I'm trying to 3.9 million won, which was about just under $3,000 a month for an apartment. It was a lot. Wow. And
yeah, that may not be the best retirement place, but
yeah, it was a beautiful apartment, and we were given housing allowance for it, but I had to pay in cash every month. I had to take a wad of won like this. It looked like I was a mafia or something, with this wad of cash to go, because I would have to go to my bank. Yeah, it was crazy. I'd go to the bank, and for like the last 3 days of the month, and then the day we would get paid, take money out. And because over there, they wouldn't let us take out more than 800 a day from the bank over there. So I would have to take the money out in 3 sections. There was no other way to do it. They wouldn't take a direct transfer. They wanted it in cash every month. So,
was that like a cultural thing? Everything was in cash, or they just?
No, it was American thing. It was an American. They didn't want to deal with any. How did the landlord put it? Well, you have your real estate person, and then the landlord. Okay. I never met the landlord personally. We dealt with a real estate person who she knew English, and she did all the middle things, talking for everybody. And that's just what they wanted. If you were going to take this, you needed to pay in cash on these 2 days. Otherwise, they're going to charge you more, all that mess.
Right.
But that's the only way we could do it, was take the maximum amount for those last 3 days of the month. So we had to, it was weird.
That's strange.
But I did it, and I did it for 3 years.
Wow.
3 years I would go and have a wad of cash and deliver it to this little alley. It was a little alleyway.
Of course it was.
It looked like I was getting ready to make a deal. But go in there, and she would hand count it, and also she would pay my bills, because she tried to take me to this bill place and showed me how to fill out, because you have to fill out paperwork to pay bills too. I couldn't do anything online. And so get the bills in. She would pull the bills out because they would go to her. They didn't even come to us. And from my wad, she would say, okay, I need whatever, 600 won or 7,000 won or whatever. And I would pound it out. She would get it, put it in an envelope with that bill, go to the next bill, electricity, water, stuff like that. Sure. You also have to pay for garbage disposal, because they're 100% recycle in South Korea. So that all those services, you have to pay for those as well. And if you go over your limit for garbage, you have to pay for that as well. So there's like all kinds of rules, all kinds of rules over there. But it was still a great experience for sure. For sure.
It all works out. So
yeah,
what are we looking at?
We're looking at fascinating historical figures that were lucky enough to have their photos taken. Well, they weren't lucky. I don't know if they even cared. But yeah, so that's Charles Darwin. And some of these I hadn't ever seen. And I didn't go through all of these. You know, I just thought, oh, this is pretty cool. I'll save this for Friday. But he's got like quite the brow ridge. I think he may be related to Bigfoot. I was like, dang, he's got a shadow over his eyes.
It is one of the, well, I think half of that might just be eyebrow foliage from the website. But yeah, but that is kind of curious. It's one of those things where it's like, of course, this kind of person that looks like that would get into the theory of evolution and how, you know, we went from, ape-like creatures that developed into man over millions of years and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I understand that now. Looking at that, like you say, that brow ridge line is pretty pronounced.
Wow. Yeah, because this is I've seen him on the straightforward photo, but this side one, I was like, whoa, he's got quite the profile there.
Is that because it's like you can see his forehead comes down, and then there's just that sharp drop off into his eye socket there from that.
Yeah. Dang. Crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. Apparently, he didn't want to be a barber. Apparently, so.
I just picture that. Those. When was he born? He published his findings on evolution in 1859. So those 1800s, I just don't see them being a very kempt type of people. Not no baths, once a month type of thing. I don't know what they did. But.
Yeah, once a week if you're fancy, and a little bit longer if you're not.
Yeah,
riding along in old rickety ass trains going cross country that had windows that were open, so it was just dust and dirt flying everywhere.
Right? Oh, and they had that whole different mindset. The whole mindset of that you don't want to clean yourself and expose yourself to getting sick by being clean. Which is a completely opposite thing now.
It was like a layer of dirt on you is good. It keeps the bad stuff from getting into you, I guess. I don't know.
Who is messaging me? Oh, no, nothing to do with this. So yeah, I mean is this the era where they came up with the whole thing? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater or whatever.
Yes,
is this the same? Because they shared a bath. I didn't know that saying came from that, but it was like the hierarchy of the bath. Dad got to take a bath, then the mom, then the kids, till the youngest baby had that dirty ass water to bathe in. And
the baby basically was just bathing in mud by the time it got to the
baby. Yeah. So, yeah, don't throw that baby out with that bad water. Ew, that's so gross. Let's see. Okay. Annie Oakley. Look at her curly locks.
Look at that.
She was pretty. I thought she was not.
She was amazing. Oh, no. Annie Oakley was very pretty.
She's got that very pronounced nose. Perfect. Look at it. Straight as an arrow.
So was her shooting.
What does it say here? Phoebe. Her real name is Phoebe? Wow. Phoebe Ann Mosey, famously known as Annie Oakley, was a female sharpshooter who became a sensation while working in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. Oakley became skilled as a shooter from the young age and in order to feed her family by hunting. She caught the attention of the public when she won a sharpshooting contest at the age of 15 and joining Buffalo Bill's show in 1885. During her time, the show, she was paid the most of anyone except for Bill himself.
Yep. It's pretty amazing stuff. They had so many different stunts. The one that always got me was where they'd take like the silver dollar and have somebody throw it up in the air, and they were able to shoot a hole through the middle of it before it came down. It's just like, wow.
Crazy.
I didn't. I do that like in a video game, much less in real life.
Oh, Butch Cassidy. Oh, he looks like that actor. I have no idea how to look him up either because I can't remember what he played.
Boy, I don't know.
He does look familiar. Butch Cassidy. Does he look rough and tough? He looks pretty rough and tough to me.
Yep. Not someone you'd want to mess with, which is, you kind of look that way after not having a bath for a couple of weeks too. So
I'm sure. Ugh. The smells. See, smells get to me. I'm the smeller. I can smell all kinds of shit. That I don't think I would make it in that era at all.
Exactly. If you were a smell sensitive type person, you would not have done well prior to like probably 1950. Anytime beyond that, it was because baths were not regular. Even the clean water you used was not that clean, and soap wasn't really a big thing back then either. It was just kind of jump in the creek and rinse off, and you're good.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's hilarious when you see the movies and how the movies portray it all. And you see, I think it was it on Tube? No, not Tube, so Young Guns. I think there's a part where they show all of them in this little bitty hot springs, just all in there. Oh, yeah, it's kind of gross, but I can kind of picture that. They find a little bit of water, they might soak in it a little bit.
Yep, that's a luxury.
So his name was Robert Leroy Parker. That's Butch Cassidy. Was a notorious train robber during the Old West. He was also the leader of a criminal outlaw unit called the Wild Bunch, and eventually forced to flee the country with his partner, Alonzo Longball, the Sundance Kid. Alonzo was the Sundance Kid. How come I didn't know that?
I don't know.
And Etta Pace. It is believed that Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were killed in a shootout with the Bolivian army in 1908. Today, Cassidy is considered to be an icon of the Wild West. Wow. I just think of who are the actors who played them. That
was.
Damn it! My mind is not going. I see his face.
I know. I just drew a total blank on it too. Shit.
Oh, I almost said Sean, but it's not Sean. It's somebody in the. Come on, where's Danny Staten? What's the name of the actors from Sundance Kid? Butch Cassidy.
I'll have to look it up.
Oh, it almost came to me again. I hate when that happens.
I only remembered one guy's name and not the other guy, but remember it? I got it.
Oh, shit. It's like right there. Spit it out.
Butch Cassidy was played by Paul Newman.
Paul Newman. I was going to say salad dressing.
Yep. I was thinking popcorn myself.
Robert Redford. Robert Redford. Oh, God. It's too early. I think that's why. I need another cup of coffee.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Good. Leo Tolstoy. He looks exactly like Look at him one more time.
Well,
He does.
Old man look was kind of the same back then. Yeah. Crazy ass hair and beard.
Yeah. So he was Russian writer during the 19th century and early 20th century. And he's considered one of the greatest of all times. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature. Oh, shit, my husband's home. He's going to be really loud, okay? He's Puerto Rican. Just go with it. He's normally not home, but he's still on his break. Some most notable works were Anne Karenina, War and Peace, and The Death of Ivan Ilyich. Ilyich. So, yeah. I think I only read War and Peace. That's it, out of all those. And I don't even think I finished it. I just had to read it for something in college. And those were the days you could go get the little cheap books. What are they called?
Those yellow and
what are those things called? I was all for those things. Let me tell you.
Basically, what were those things called? Basically, it was just a synopsis of
of everything
that you have in your reading. The whole thing. I forget what those were called now.
See, we're not good this morning. We're usually.
I know. I blame my microphone. It's not allowing me to communicate what I want to.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. What are they called? I see it right here, but I can't find it.
I can picture it in my head too. It was like black and yellow, and it had like a something like that.
Come on, some Cliff Notes. Thank you. Goodness gracious, we're so bad today.
We're bad. There's just no nouns.
Cliff Notes, but you know what we're talking about. You guys know. Yeah, Cliff Notes. I was all about the Cliff Notes for sure.
Did you buy a lot of those?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I fell for it one time in high school. I don't even remember what it was I bought it for, but it turns out my teacher in high school also had the Cliff Notes and would write questions to the test that were not covered in the Cliff Notes.
Yeah. I did really good in high school, okay, with very little effort. When I got to college, I had zero study skills. So I needed all the help I could get because it was a completely different world, you know. And I mean, if I was interested, I did the whole thing. But if I was not interested in the reading, that was the only way I was getting through that stuff. For sure. What's next? Let's see. Oh, John Quincy Adams. He just looks mean as shit. Look at his face.
He really does have that Ebenezer Scrooge prototype looking look.
Yes.
Yeah, right there. That's.
He looks like he'll come at you with the ruler. You know, like.
Well, back in those days, it wasn't uncommon where political opponents on different sides of a topic. They'd go out back of the Capitol building and throw down with each other. They'd get into full-blown fights, and sometimes it would even escalate to having dueling guns and stuff like that afterwards. But you kind of had to be a tough hombre back in the day.
Yeah, he looks mean. I don't know. That stare is like not great. For sure. For sure. So, born in July 11th, 1767, John Quincy Adams was a lawyer, diplomat, statesman. He was the eldest son of John Adams, the second president of the U.S. During his career, he was a member of the U.S. Senate, House of Representatives for Massachusetts, as well as an ambassador. In 1825, he became the sixth president of the U.S. as a member of the Democratic Republican Party. And 1830s became associated with the Whig Party. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a haunting His face is haunting. It's like if that was in a picture frame on the wall, the eyes would follow you. That's the kind of stare that is.
It's also important to remember too that this looks like a really candid shot, like somebody just like click and that was it. But that's not how cameras worked back in those days. They had to kind of sit motionless for a second, where they would literally, there was no automatic shutter that would open up and expose the film and then close again. They, by this time, I think they had something along those lines, but back in the early days of photography, they literally had like a lens cap that they would pull off and put it back on. But you had to be completely motionless during that time, because if you moved even slightly, it would just be a big blurry mess. So he had to sit there for that. That was his pose. That was his background. This is what he decided. This is going to be the ideal picture of me, kind of lean back and glowering over the bridge of my nose at you, the camera.
Wow. Harriet Tubman. So she was associated with the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman was born into slavery and eventually escaped. She personally led 13 missions to rescue more than 70 other slaves, relying on a network of anti-slavery activists and safe houses that's now referred to as the Underground Railroad. Furthermore, during the Civil War, Tubman continued to fight for freedom when she served as an army scout and spy for the Union Army. So she did a lot.
Yes, she did. Amazing person.
Mm-hmm. Here's Andrew Jackson.
There's actual photographs of Andrew Jackson.
Look at that. He had a schnoz on him.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, he was another scrapper, too.
Look at that. Ooh, his hair is even feathery. They even got that in the picture. That picture's been through it, though. Look at it. It's all scratched.
That was bad shape. At first, I was like, what is this? One of those paranormal type things? We're seeing where there's an orb and there's a ghostly image back there. And there's one of those kind of things, but that's a pretty abused photograph. But still amazing.
He worked as a frontier lawyer before becoming a U.S. Senate member, House of Representatives, and justice on the Tennessee Supreme Court. Jackson was also a renowned soldier, leading troops in the Creek War, the War of 1812, and the First Seminole War. He ran for president in 1824, in which he lost to John Quincy Adams. After forming the Democratic Party, Jackson ran again in 1828, winning without question. So,
see his photograph on a $20 bill, and as it said in the write-up, boy, he killed a whole lot of Native Americans, and is still not popular today in those circles. So much so that a lot of places won't accept that $20 bill if you try and give it to them.
Well, they can give it to me. That's fine. Arthur Wellesley, 1st Duke of Wellington. Arthur Wellesley. He was major political and military leader in Britain during the 19th century. He is credited with defeating Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. Oh, that's that guy. Okay.
Yeah, that was
those were mean little
end for Napoleon. Yeah,
boogers too. They were mean. His victory over Napoleon led him to become a national hero. He was named the 1st Duke of Wellington in 1814. Cool. Vincent van Gogh. Oh, that's quite a young photograph too.
Yeah. I can still sort of see that famous self-portrait that he did of himself in that, though.
In that. Let's see, an artist in the 19th century. Van Gogh was a Dutch post-impressionist painter that is noted for completing more than 2,000 works in just one decade. Recently, a lady was in a thrift store and found a small little painting. and she thought it looked unusually old and bought it for like $1.50. And she took it to one of those antique roadshow
Antique
things.
roadshow, yeah.
And it was an original Van Gogh. Well, I think they priced it at like 700,000 or something like that, but in auction it could go for millions. So, like, so crazy. You know, I think the lady almost had a heart attack.
I don't. That is pretty amazing, though.
Yeah, it was small. It wasn't. I remember it not being very big, and I saw this not recently. It was a while ago, but that happens a lot. You know, people going into thrift stores and finding works of art and then trying to sell it, and it turns out to be, you know, worth a couple thousand, and they paid $1. I'm like, why can't that happen to me? So,
yeah, you always had those amazing lights. Well, actually, you have a illustration similar on your coffee mug that you showed earlier. That,
I do.
That starry sky kind of
my starry
style
night
that he had when he would draw. Yeah.
My Starry Night Bigfoot. Yeah. My coffee's already getting cold. So, following his death, he became known as one of the greatest influences in Western art history. Unfortunately, Vincent van Gogh suffered from psychotic episodes and delusions that he ignored until he eventually took his own life.
I always found it interesting that a lot of the famous artists and brilliant thinkers back throughout history were usually very, very troubled people that had their own demons, so to speak, that they had to deal with, which allowed them to kind of grow into these brilliant artists and brilliant thinkers throughout the years.
Yeah. Frederick Douglass. I don't know Frederick Douglass. Who is this? He was a political leader and a revolutionary during the 19th century. After managing to escape slavery in Maryland, he became an anti-slavery activist as a leader in the abolition movement in both Massachusetts and New York.
Yep, he was very key in getting that movement rolling through the government, and which finally turned into abolishment of slavery for the whole country.
Frederick Douglass. Martin Van Buren. Whoa.
Hey.
He's got some wings going there.
Wow.
So Martin Van Buren is credited for being one of the key founders of the Democratic Party. Over his political career, he served as the governor of New York, the 10th Secretary of State, the 8th Vice President, and the 8th President of the U.S. So he did a lot.
Yeah, he did.
Martin Van Buren.
Wow, those are his sideburns too. We're coming down the side of his face, and those are like 4-inch sideburns that are all flailed out like that.
Do you think he just got up and went, just pulled everything out?
Again, you know? For a picture like this, which is amazingly clear, I'm not so sure this is an actual photograph of him, but this was a hair design choice. It wasn't like the wind was blowing outside. He stepped through the door from outside and they snapped his picture real quick. This is this is good. This is what I want to look like. This is how I want to be remembered.
Wow.
It's like
crazy.
That little dinosaur from the original Jurassic Park that fanned out his face and spit the poison at the guy.
Oh. Oh, great. Oh my goodness. Okay. Samuel Wilson, or Uncle Sam. There's Uncle Sam. Look at that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. They do make that eagle look like him. You know what I'm talking about?
What are the Muppets?
The Sam. Yeah, the Sam Eagle Muppet. Looks like So Uncle Sam is the symbol of the U.S. government and American culture that first came during the War of 1812. He's typically viewed as a man with a top hat, white hair, and beard, along with other American-related regalia. It is rumored that the character is based on a man named Samuel Wilson, who worked as a meat packer during the War of 1812. His barrels contained the letters U.S. for the United States, with some joking that it stood for Uncle Sam. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool story. He looks like he was a big boy. Wonder how tall he was. I don't know. Cool. Oh, there's Abe. Abraham Lincoln.
Beardless Abe.
He had some big ears, man. Look at those.
Those are some big ears.
And he had a lot of hair.
I was about to say, from that angle, how is his hair off of this side sticking out that far?
Very bad haircut. Very bad. For sure. The 16th president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, began his career as a lawyer, Illinois state legislature, a congressman, Whig party leader, and he won the presidency in 1860. Pro-slavery states began to secede from the Union, and the Civil War began. Lincoln then led the country through the Civil War, preserving the Union until he was ultimately assassinated in 1865. To this day, he is considered one of the greatest presidents to ever hold office. I guess some will say yes and no. Yeah, but
yeah, there's certainly some arguments there, and the specifics, the nitty gritties about some of the decisions he made and things like that of why it was all done over the years. But
right.
In the end, it's still the basic truth is, it did boil down to slavery in most cases for that.
Right.
But
well, they were, he was against slavery, but he had slaves. And
yeah,
it's just pretty much, it was that time.
That was the unfortunate thing of that time. And how well you treated your slaves said a lot more back then, I think, than anything else, where some people treated them like humans, and you're basically working for me, but you've got a nice place to live, and we're educating and blah 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 blah, which is about as good as you could get back in those days, versus the complete opposite side where they were literally treated like cattle almost. We're just thrown in a ramshackle shack and make do with whatever they could get. So that's not an excuse by any means, but that later developed into, okay, these are humans, we can't treat them like that. Yeah. And there was, that was that dividing line. It's like, no, they're my property. No, you can't own a human. That's not right. And Civil War sprouts up over it.
And now we have Billy the Kid. A little curly Q there.
Yeah.
So born Henry McCarty, Billy the Kid was an outlaw of the Old West who began his life of crime as a young teenager. After being orphaned at the age of 15, before adulthood, McCarty was a federal fugitive with wanted posters referring to him as Billy the Kid. In his youth, he fought the New Mexico's Lincoln County War, where it is suspected that he murdered 3 men before he was killed himself at the age of 21. He is known to have killed 8 men. It doesn't have a date. I was really looking for a date here. I have, would it be my grandmother on my dad's side said that when they had just gotten married, my grandparents, okay, they were up in northern Arizona and they went out wood cutting, and they would have been very young, in their 20s, when a young man came and asked if he could sit with them at their fire. And they swear it was Billy the Kid. But
there's a lot of stories like that.
I was like, how? I need to figure out the dates and the times and stuff because that doesn't make sense. I don't know. They swore it was him, but he
There's
was
a
young,
lot of stories that
16, 17.
that he didn't, as I said in that last, where he killed himself at the age of 21. There's a lot of people that don't think that he actually did, that he survived and was on the land for the longest time. And there's a lot of stories of exactly like what you said, or sitting on a train, or at a campfire, just kind of like wandering up out of nowhere. It's like, hey,
right,
what if I share the fire with you, kind of a thing. So that's not unheard of throughout the Old West back in the days.
right. Because back then, they did that whole Southwest loop. It was Arizona up to the tip of Utah, Colorado, back down to New Mexico, into West Texas and around. They did a lot of traveling in between there. Now there was Apaches that go up north and south on the east of Arizona is Apache County. So that was a real dangerous place to go. So that's why they would come up and around a lot of the times. They never just came straight through how like I-40 goes, not I-10 goes straight through that area now.
Well, actually, our friend Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop has done quite a bit of research on Billy the Kid and a few other, Old West folks like that, where he had a lot of hideouts strategically located all throughout, and that was also part of the reason why he'd take those big looping, kind of avoiding major cities where he might get spotted and stuff like that. But he had a lot of stuff, and he had a lot of symbology that he would leave on rocks and trees and stuff like that, that if you just saw it, just looked like somebody hacked at it with an axe. However, it was a specific pattern where his people or him, they could recognize it as like kind of a roadside. It's like, okay, the hideout's this way. And he has seen some of that down around his area there in eastern Southern California, where he lives. And he's convinced there's like a hidden treasure stash somewhere down there.
I'm sure there are that are forgotten, long forgotten. But everything changes. The earth changes. You go to the same spot the next year and it doesn't look the same as it was before, so imagine, 100 years go by, there's going to be a lot of changes. A lot of places are now bulldozed and, have become towns and cities and are just gone forever, buried, history buried. So this is Calamity Jane. Calamity Jane, a Wild West legend. Calamity Jane, born Martha Jane Cannery, was a frontierswoman and a sharpshooter known to be close with Wild Bill Hickok. Their friendship would result in her performing in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show.
Yep.
Let me see. It doesn't say. A rough and tumble type of woman that was known to frequent men's clothes. Her name is right at the top of the other famous people of the Old West.
God, it'd been great to have been back in those days to see one of those shows.
Sharpshooting shows. Hannah Stilley Gorby.
I have no idea.
Hannah Stilley Gorby, born in 1746 in Wilmington, Delaware. Hannah Stilley is presumed to be the earliest born person ever to be photographed. What?
Huh.
One of the earliest, 1746. Okay. I'm just letting that sink in for a moment. People don't want to make assumptions, even historians. Even so, this is a pretty remarkable photograph of a woman who lived during a very different time than the 21st century. if her clothing and lack of facial expression in the picture have anything to say about the matter. Huh. It is pretty strange.
This was those early days of photography. You see a lot of people with just kind of their regular static kind of face. And for a lot of people, it's usually not smiling or whatever. It wasn't really that smile for the camera kind of a thing back there. That wasn't a thing. So it was just like, okay, I don't know what you're doing. Why are you holding that box there? Why do I have to sit here for so long? Okay.
Well, I hate it. Well, I don't hate it. I seeing those photos of the dead people, you know how they would take pictures with their dead.
Yep.
And they would sit them up like they were alive, you know, and they're just like, eh. Those were always crazy photos to me. Next. Who's this? Peter Frushen? Is that how you say it?
I'm not sure who this is.
Frushen. It's probably, it's Danish. Danish explorer Peter Frushen is best known for the Thule expeditions, a journey across 600 miles of the Arctic ice to prove a channel divided Peary Land and Greenland. The claim was made by explorer Robert Peary and proved false by Frushen and his partner Knud Rasmussen. The journey was almost the end for the two adventurers as they had to journey through very tough conditions. So he's just a tough old bird.
I wish they had a date.
Oh, no. The next one is
what?
No date. No date.
Yeah.
No date. I better not drop that photo and find it's somebody else. Okay. Jane Doe post-mortem. Oh, see, she's dead. Is she dead?
Like you said, they would pose the dead for the picture sometimes. And
she's smiling, though. It's a weird look. While the lady of the photograph has not yet been identified, people believe she was the 19th century and one of the first people to actually be photographed post-mortem. That's what I was just talking about. These are creepy photos. Namely, how her eyes and mouth look motionless and pretty glued on. Ew, they glued her. They glued her.
Does she not have eyebrows?
I don't see any. I do not see any eyebrows. But yeah, those eyeballs are like sunken in there, man. That's like cavern.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. No.
Gross. Oh boy.
Rasputin. Grigory Rasputin. Look at that hair. Wow. Rasputin, holy man and mystic who worked for Nicholas II and the rest of the Romanov family during the time of the Imperial Russia. While Rasputin had befriended the royal family, he wound up betraying them. There have been different variations of Rasputin throughout pop culture, including the 1997 film Anastasia. He's got a crazy
vicious, pretty vicious dude, as I recall.
Pupils not dilated. Pupils not dilated on the girl on this one.
Post, yeah.
Oh, you're right. They're not. I don't know. Do they dilate that much? Once you're dead, everything stops wherever it was at.
That's what I was.
I thought that too. Okay, so what is this? Rhoda Derry. Rhoda Derry was a young woman who became a mental patient for most of her life, but the story behind her illness is what is the most alluring to people. Rhoda was dating a young man named Charles, and Charles' mother did not approve of her. The mother told Rhoda that if she didn't leave her son alone, she would cast a spell on her. Rhoda was terrified of witches. Soon after, the 18-year-old Rhoda began showing signs of mental illness that were described as madness. She was admitted to Adams County Almshouse at the age of 25, described as blind and insane, and spent the rest of her adult life in institutions, living to be one day shy of 72.
Jeez. What happened to this poor soul?
Wow.
Unfortunately, back in those days, you could have someone committed to insane asylums for kind of anything, and of course, the common response for anybody that would get thrown in there under curious circumstances is like, no, really, I'm not crazy, which is exactly what the other people say in there, which actually are crazy. So you end up getting stuck in there with no way out.
Yeah.
And I don't recall. It says in the write-up that she was admitted and she was blind, which I can sort of see, there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Whatever curse that jealous mommy put on her blinded her as well as drove her mad.
See, it doesn't say, but she had a man, so I don't know what that whole story.
It's story at all. Very strange.
Dairy. That might. This is in Spanish here, but I don't think. I don't know. That might be something worth looking into a little more. Just some backstory there. Let me write her name down real fast. Rhoda Dairy. Okay.
I'm just trying to go through all the possibilities. Like, did the jealous mom poison her somehow, which caused her to lose her vision? And
we don't know. It could have been anything. They were mean back in those days, so I wouldn't doubt they beat the dog shit out of her. Harriet Beecher Stowe. Huh. An abolitionist and an author, Harriet Stowe is known for writing the non-iconic Uncle Tom's Cabin, which helped to illuminate the harsh treatment of slaves in the country. Her book became internationally known and was used to inspire others to rise up against slavery, especially in the North. In her life, Stowe authored 30 books, many of which were deeply involved in social issues and her stance on them at the time. Today, her works are considered to be highly influential. And there's Helen Keller. I've seen older pictures of her, but not that one's pretty young there. Just over a year old, Helen Keller lost her sight and hearing due to an illness during probably scarlet fever, right? I think that's the one that normally took away vision and hearing and everything. During her childhood, she met her teacher and long-life companion, Anne Sullivan, who taught her to read, write, and communicate using language. As a young adult, she attended Radcliffe College of Harvard University, became the first deaf-blind person to earn a bachelor's degree. On top of writing 14 books and countless speeches and essays, she also was an advocate for women's rights, labor rights, and disability rights. I love the whole Helen Keller story thing.
Yeah, she's dressed up pretty nice there.
Who played it? Was it Anne Bancroft? No. Trying to think of the actress who played her.
There's been a few films about her. I remember the one with Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie. Played her.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a really good one. I liked that one. Let's see when that one was in 1962, The Miracle Worker. That's what that one was. And let me see. It was Patty Duke. Patty Duke played Helen Keller. Oh, Anne Bancroft was in it. That's why I got confused. But she played Annie Sullivan. So I was correct by seeing her in there. Mike, sorry, what?
Oh, again, talking about my crappy
We
mic.
know. We know. It's okay.
It works well when it's up here. When it's up here, it seems to be okay. When it's totally blocking my face.
Okay, so I'm going to go through these next ones just real fast. I'm not going to do the whole. So this is George Armstrong Custer.
Oh.
Boy, I like the way he puts that hat on there sideways like that.
That's pretty extreme, that hat.
Yeah. See, even back then, they wore the hair, you know, crazy ass. Hats off to the side. He was a rebel. Benito Mussolini.
Oof. That was a tough character there, too.
Look at that. He has a death stare. Yep, for sure. Italian. He's Italian. Geronimo. There's Geronimo. Which means the one who yawns. That's not what I did not know. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I'm not so sure about that fact right there, but he was an Apache. The Wright brothers. The Wright brothers. I bet you people thought they were crazy. Of course, their shop was in Dayton, Ohio. And they had their first craft called the Wright Flyer in 1903 in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. There is Daniel F. Bakeman. Who is that? That looks like an old one, really old one. Daniel F. Bakeman served Revolutionary War. Just say John Taylor. John Tyler. Man, they just all look so mean. This was 1841.
This was back before the days where they would do the smile for the camera bit. It was this.
Yeah.
Voice. Can you hear me all right? Or am I coming in too low now?
There. Now you're coming in. You were really going out there for a second. It was like almost nothing.
Yeah, it's still I'll try it there. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with it anymore.
There you go.
At this point. All right.
President, low ranking, blah blah blah, nothing exciting. Emily Dickinson. Emily Dickinson. That looks like a portrait. It does not look real.
There's a few of these that I'm kind of wondering if they're actually photographs of the people or photographs of a picture of a photo of
right.
a painting of the people.
Yeah, because look at her eyes. They are not right. Right? They're not. Yeah, they're not right. But that's Emily Dickinson, who she wrote about 1,800 poems, 10 poems, and 1 letter of her entire collection of art were published before her death. Typically no titles and slant rhymes. Franklin Pierce. Ooh.
I have hair like that, like bedhead. Kind of a look I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, he invented the comb over. Like, 1804. He was the 14th president of the U.S. Sylvia Plath. That looks recent.
It does look very recent.
That looks like 60s or 70s. The Bell Jar, 2 poetry collection, Ariel and the Colossus. Why is she in here? This is supposed to be old first photos.
I don't know.
Now they're going to start going way downhill, the photos, I have a feeling, because that's because she passed away in 1963, so that photo was like in the 70s probably. There's Robert E. Lee. There's Marie Curie.
Amazing scientist. Learned a lot from her. She died horrifically because of those experiments and radiation and stuff like that. Yeah, she. You'll see it in the write-up there, but
she was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize. Eventually, she added another to her collection, becoming the only woman in history to receive 2. I'm sure that's changed, right? Hasn't that changed now?
I would think so by now. But yeah, she did a lot of amazing research. She was like basically the first person to come up with like the concept of an X-ray machine, except just lethal doses of radiation. She's like sticking her hand in the plate, and because you didn't know back then.
Over and over, yeah. Her research on radioactivity. Yike. Ichabod Crane
was a real person.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Look at that photo. Is that real old or is that just been fucked with?
It's so hard to tell.
It is hard to tell. No, that's not real. It says Colonel Ichabod Crane was a career military officer who served in both the United States Army and Marine Corps for 48 years. Born in 1787, Crane saw numerous wars, including the War of 1812, the Patriot War, and Black Hawk War. People might also recognize his name as the protagonist from Washington Irving's novel, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, it was Ichabod Crane that was getting chased by the Headless Horseman. He had to get across the bridge, and the Disney version, he throws the flaming pumpkin head at him. Yeah, that's that character looks nothing like that gentleman there.
Yeah, wow. Chief Seattle. Born in 1786, Chief Seattle was a leader of the Squamish and the Duwamish people. He is known for making relationships with the settlers who came to Washington, particularly in the American pioneer Doc Maynard. Due to peaceful relationships the chief formed, the city of Seattle was named after him. Looks like Jay Fritz. That guy does look like Jay Fritz. You're right. Jay, what are you doing in there? Leah. Okay. We're kind of going back around now. That's weird.
Yeah,
look, Tolstoy, Van Gogh. Oh, look, that's a different picture of Van Gogh. But that's a painting. That is absolutely a painting. I know that. So I think we've probably done the
full circle
there. Yeah. But those were interesting. I mean, still. Good morning, Brian and Chewy. Good to see you. And Sunny, good to see you. Who else? My sister dropped in. Pyromedic dropped in. Who else we got that jumped in? I think that was it. Good to see everybody. So what you got going? You going to be on Doof tonight?
Later, I'll be on with Doof. She's still here in the U.S. She's out in Virginia City, and she's going to go live tonight at, I think on her website, she said it was 10:30 my time. That'd be 11:30 p.m. Eastern time tonight, which I'll be co-hosting with her. And I don't know if Sonny's in the chat. Maybe he can let us know if he's going to plan on doing a show tonight, but that'll be a little
What's going on, Sonny? You gonna be doing anything tonight? You running a show tonight? I don't know if he's even here. We had a good my sister had a good show last night. It was fun.
It was amazing conversation on there.
Yeah. Our cousin Vanessa was on
earlier than I did but I just didn't want to interrupt. It's like I'm a speed bump to this conversation. I'm staying out of it.
Nah, you can always join. So what I've got coming up is on Sunday. Sunday's show is going to be Joe's celebration of life. So everybody welcome to come on over to my show on Sunday, 5 p.m. Mountain. And we're going to just talk with Molly. Molly's ready and have a little celebration and see some photos and have some good storytelling. So bring your stories, and if you want to jump on, I'll throw the link out there and we can all share those fun stories about Joe. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening on Sunday. Talk about our friend Joe with Molly.
Good.
So that is it. That's all I've got for today. What do we got? I don't have a guest, so I was thinking about not doing one. I'm not sure yet.
Did you want to mention next Friday, next week?
Oh, so we're probably not going to have a show next week because it is Thanksgiving, break and stuff, and I'll be in Arizona, and Enzo will be doing his thing. What are you going to be doing, Enzo?
It's still a little wobbly because it'll be on Black Friday when we drive up, but I've been invited to a like haunted house type investigation in Northeast Kansas, and at this point right now it's still going to happen. So it'll be my first time investigating a haunted house kind of a thing, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
I'm excited for you too. I told him you better record it, put it on, be his first video on his channel. That's what I think you should do. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, everybody going over to Sunny's show tonight. Paranormal. We'll all be there at Paranormal Chop Shop tonight. So now you have to have a show, Sunny. We'll bamboozle him into having a show. See if he said anything.
Shame him into having a show.
Yeah. Gotta have a show. Look, see? I told you.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Just make a show. Make a show.
Yeah.
Feel like it. I've got some what do I have over there? Some Jack Daniels Coke. Yeah, I think I do. I have something. I don't know. My husband bought me 2 things of rum from Puerto Rico. Some big ones. Yeah. So there's those 2. It's Friday night, folks.
Woo!
You never know what could happen. So that's Paranormal Chop Shop tonight, guys. Look out for it because we might all be there. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for coming again early morning. Be sure to hit that like button before you leave. Leave me a comment, please. And we'll see you in the next chat.
It's a good day. It's a good day.